what's going on? This is Dr. Jeff C. May, and you are listening to another episode of Doctor's Orders, advice you should actually take. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever you may be listening to this. You may be seeing it on Facebook, you may be seeing it on Instagram. Wherever it may be, we are more connected than ever before, have access than ever before, possibly not connected as much. And in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is calling out all the doubters. Calling out the doubters in your life and how it affects you each and every day, whether it's with your health, your wealth, your finances, your happiness, whatever it may be. Okay, faith, family, fitness, body, being, balance, business. There's so many different categories, catchphrases, and cute ways to say the categories of your life. So here we go. Calling out the doubters. Where did this one start? Well, earlier in the week, there was a scenario that has been played out before. Like this is not a new one. So if you're new, I've been in healthcare for 15 years. I've been a chiropractor for 15 years, owned and operated Advantage Health Center for 15 years. We've been in a new building the last year where we've integrated vitamin IVs, soft wave, stem cell therapy, metabolic reset programs, neuropathy program. It's getting incredible, all things getting incredible results. And with the goal in mind of helping people have real answers, real solutions when it comes into healthcare. There's two big sides in healthcare that people play on. There's the emergency crisis care, which is where medicine, medical doctors, hospitals, nurses, a majority of nurses play in that role. And then there's the proactive side. There's the maintenance side of healthcare. And so think of it like this. If your body was a car, if you're in an accident, you need a body repair shop. Now, even if your car wasn't in an accident, you still probably from time to time should have some maintenance on your car, getting the tires rotated, getting the oil changed, having those things, the systems checked. And so I'm more on the maintenance side. I have been for 15 years. I love the maintenance side because I didn't want to go into healthcare dealing with the one thing I never wanted to tell a mom or a dad is that their child was going to die before them. So I thought, man, if I was a chiropractor, I don't think that ever happens. And so knowing that I wanted more people when they left my office is to have more hope than when they entered, and that helping set up a really, really good system and a really good team and getting really good results will help prevent more people from having to go through those crisis scenarios. Now, it's not here to save the world. It's not here to do any of those things. It's saying we're going to help as many people as we can. We're going to go in this with the heart of God and say, hey, we're going to love on people. We're going to do everything we can to help them avoid the 70% of people that die of lifestyle choices. We want to help people die of natural causes. That sounded terrible. We don't want to help you die. What I'm trying to say is if that's a soundbite out there later, oh my gosh, that's funny. But up to 75% of people die because of lifestyle choices, and that's just not cool. So we wanted to be on the side of healthcare in terms of saying, hey, let's help people understand, let's educate, empower, and help eradicate lifestyle disease for the individuals that we get to take care of. So that's the brief synopsis of where I'm coming from in the frame on this. Because when you go into natural healthcare initially, you leave chiropractic school and you're all amped and you love it and you're talking to your friends, but then inevitably there's going to be that person you run into, maybe a stranger, maybe one of your first potential clients or patients, and those things that they're like, oh, you're a bone cruncher, or you're a witch doctor, or once I heard, once you go to a chiropractor, you always have to go, or you're going to break somebody's neck. Like all of these things, the doubters come out of the woodwork, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Guess what? It's happened before. It happened way before I was a chiropractor in my life. And so knowing that in the human experience, we don't experience these things in a bubble, that everybody probably listening has experienced doubt on some level. And so earlier in this week, I think it was what inspired this episode, is that we had an individual, they were coming in to find out their report of their test. So their ROT, their ROF, the report of findings. It's essentially when you go in our office, you come in usually on the first day, there's exams, there's scans, there's a systematic process of getting information to make a healthcare decision. And so we had gathered all that. And then now they were coming back, and we get a call and saying, hey, my husband said it's a no-go. And so you think in your head, what do you mean your husband said it's a no-go? What do you mean, what's a no-go? Finding out like how you are in terms of your health, is that a no-go? And so immediately I started having these emotions of like, like, that's a pretty stupid thing to say. That's really dumb. Like, wow, that's a spouse that says, I love you. That's a spouse that says, for better, for worse. And you're about to take a step towards finding out things that could potentially help you change your life, help you live a healthier, happier, and a higher productive overall quality of life. And they said, yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. That sounds like a bad spouse. And I'm going out there on this one to say, it got me thinking about doubters. Like, who in your world is doubting you right now? And it may be yourself, but I'm going to talk about like external people for the sake of this episode. External people that are doubting you, that are saying, hey, maybe you can't do that. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Now, I understand there's people, like, for example, when I left chiropractic school, I decided to step into the possibility of taking over an office. And I will tell you, my parents love me. I love my parents. They're great people. They, in their own roundabout way, were like, hey, maybe you want to work for someone for a while, have an associateship, or just get your feet wet, try and figure it out. And I love that. They were looking out for me because I didn't know what I was getting into. How could you ever know? They had life experience in the workplace, all these different aspects, but yet they cast doubt. And they didn't doubt in me, but that it just kind of put in that little seed in the back of my head. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm not ready for this. And that's like something that I'm sure everybody's experienced in terms of not a massive like, hey, you'll never be able to do this. You'll never amount to anything. But I think it's important to know that if you go throughout your day and you forget that there's doubt out there and you just succumb to it, that over time you'll start to build stories in your head. You'll start to build stories in your head that potentially aren't even true. You may have this story that you'll never be able to lose weight. Where did that come from? Well, someone, you saw your family reunion and everybody seemed to be kind of like the big boned, overweight. And maybe you just started believing this subconscious story that this is genetically the bad card I was dealt in my family. Maybe you're believing that story. Maybe you're believing the story could be even worse where, everybody you've known has ever had a divorce. Your parents are divorced, your aunts and uncles, like everybody. So like you're doubting even the ability to have a healthy marriage because you've never seen that. Now, in all of these scenarios, understanding that doubt, it plays a negative role. Like you really have to get to the point where you can say, okay, here's the result I want in my life, but yet here's where I feel it's holding me back. And this is the reason why. If you can get to the reason why you have doubt, you can start to disassemble that story. And that's one of the most powerful things you can do. If you can call that doubt on the carpet and say, hey, and look it over. It's like literally if you were to, pick something up. So I picked up my phone here and I look through this and I'm looking this over and I'm analyzing it and I'm like, oh man, what is this doing in my life? You can do that with doubt. Now, most people will tell you, they won't tell you that. They'll just be like, yeah, you're right. Or, they'll come alongside you because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to have the difficult conversations. But if you're willing to have the difficult conversations with yourself for the sake of knowing that there are good works for you to do. In Ephesians, it talks about like God put you on this earth for a reason. And I believe that. And I believe that for everyone. I believe that everybody has a purpose, whether to teach us a lesson, to provide the gifts and talents, the gifts and talents you were given or should be shared with one another. And so when you look at this, me doing this podcast and talking about doubt today, you may think, oh, well, how does that relate to your health? Why is a chiropractor talking about doubt? Well, doubt is at the core. Doubt is one of the seeds of some of the greatest stories that are wrecking your life, that may be keeping you held prisoner. It's the old adage is that you're sitting in a prison cell with an unlocked door, but you put yourself there. That's what doubt will do to you. It'll put you in that prison cell. And you'll sit there and you'll stay there because you think the story is that I'm stuck here forever. It may be in an overweight situation. It may be in a I'm always sick situation. I never can exercise. My back always hurts because of the work I do. This is how it was for my family. I'll never have a happy marriage because I've never seen one. Whatever the doubt, whatever the story is in your head, get it out on paper and look at that and ask yourself, is it really true? Because a majority of the time, it's not 100% true. It's not 100% true. In fact, every story that I've ever pulled out of my life were in and around doubt, and I've asked myself, is this 100% true? The answer has been no. And so if it's not 100% true, what's the alternative? What could be a possibility in reality? And that right there is where the magic happens. That, my friends, is where you start to see possibilities where all you saw before was pain. were locked doors that were never really locked. And that, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful thing. I'm so glad we're recording this. I'm so glad you're able to watch this. I hope you're getting value out of this and taking notes and sharing this stuff, because this is important to where you can actually start pulling the stories out of your life, pulling the stories out of your subconscious mind that are driving your decisions every single day, which your decisions will get you to what your results are in your life. It's what you do is basically where you're at is because of the choices you've made. And when you can pull these stories out that are driving the choices, now you've got a beautiful opportunity of saying, okay, what choices do I need to make now based on the story that I want? And that is such a powerful thing. So I'm going to leave it at that. You guys, your assignment, your doctor's orders coming out of this episode are to pull out the story that's holding you back. Pull out the story of doubt, whether it's in your weight, whether it's in your health, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your career, whatever it may be. Pull out the story of doubt and then start to decipher it. Ask yourself, is this true? And if it's not true, what are the possibilities? And then start writing that new story today. You guys, that is one of the most powerful things you can do. Unfortunately, I know most of the people will never do it. They'll just listen to this. They'll be like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Don't be a nice, that's nice person. Be a, I got shit done person. That's the person you need to be. And so when you look at this, do the assignment, pull this out, pull the story out, look it over, ask yourself if it's true, if it's not true, start to build the story you want. And then what action steps do you need to take today to make that new story a reality? You guys, thanks for listening in. Make sure you like, comment, share, and those are your doctor's orders.